Happy holidays, folks. We are counting down the 22 days into Christmas. I go by the name of, let's get into this.
Play the intro.
I go by the name of, Lord, let's review some whiskey. Welcome back. Now, folks, hope everybody's having a good holiday so far. Hell, I know I am. So for today, once again, it's not a review episode. It's just a bunch of random ideas that are mostly centered around whiskey that I can possibly think of. It's gonna be a very short episode. I had this idea. I've been really talking to a lot of people lately online, and how the young kids say IRL, in real life for those who don't know, about rye and why not rye. And guess what? A lot of people do not like rye. It is surprisingly. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to convert the masses to like rye. I'm just naturally curious why people don't like rye. So I want to take this time and this episode for all the people who watch this, which mostly are people who are into whiskey and things like that, to crowdsource some ideas on how we can get people interested in rye. So yeah, so this episode is going to be covering rye. Why not rye? Wow. In particular, rye. The bottle for this episode doesn't matter. It's Emerald Rye by Blue Run. Wow. No review on this. It's just here. It's only here because it's there. It was the closest rye that I could grab, and then that's the story. That's it. I spend so much time talking to people about whiskey, online and offline, and the number one common thing I find a lot when I start talking about rye is people just are instantly turned off. They're like, oh, I don't like rye. And it's crazy. You can kind of tell based off the way they tell you is that they probably only tried one rye and they honestly just didn't like it, which is fine. But if you're watching this channel and you've been subscribed to me for a while, 9 times out of 10, you have more than one rye in your collection. So this message not necessarily is for you at home, but maybe it's for the person who just had that one rye and why they don't like it. So I'm really curious to know why you don't like rye. Now I get it. Whiskey itself is super subjective. I know this firsthand. Like I said, my introduction was Scotch, and then I got into bourbon, and so on and so on. However, when I did start getting into rye, just like anybody, I think I probably had my first rye at a bar, and I'm pretty sure it was Bullet Rye. Now we all know, all of us whiskey geeks and whiskey nerds and whatever else you want to add to the back of whiskey, we already know what the Bullet Rye is. We know the mash bill. We don't have to discuss it, but we know that mash bill. But anyway, that was my introduction, and then that led me down the rabbit hole to discover. Because I'll be honest, I was the same way. I did not like rye, and I was just like, I didn't like rye. But what happened was, wow, I end up actually getting to find some older age rye in certain distilleries that I thought were pretty good. And then I came across rye that were finished in different casks. It was like night and day. Now, I know a lot of people don't like a lot of things that are finished in a lot of barrels, but I am a sucker for rye that are like finished. Like, I think I'm gonna do one episode one day when it's just a bunch of rye and a bunch of finished casks, and then we'll just go down the line. But for the most part, that actually helped me to get more into rye, and then that led me to finding one of my favorite rye, actually, like to this day, is the Sagamore. I actually like a lot of the rye that Sagamore put out. Even the double oak rye, I feel like it's super amazing. Probably like one of my top 5 rye that I recommend to people. Now, I know, this is a whiskey channel. No shit. And I know the Jack Daniels single barrel proof rye came out, and we all love it. Hell, I love it myself. I got 4 bottles. I promise you. I even got the LE that came out a few years ago before the single barrels came out. That's just me. Don't hate. But anywho, yes, that rye is good. But we're just talking about people who maybe have 1 or 2 bottles at home that just don't like rye. What can we do to maybe convince them to try other ryes? Now, I know what I can personally say, but I'm actually curious in the comments for people who are like whiskey enthusiasts like myself, or even if you're like an avid whiskey lover and things like that, and if you like rye, what are some things that you would suggest to help people out So I want to use this time, I know I always ask questions and have people to write in the comments below. So, yeah, so think about ryes that you can recommend people to get into. Now, full disclaimer, I know this bottle is sitting up here of this Blue Run Emerald Rye whiskey. It's not on display to say, yo, this is the end all be all bottle that everybody should get. No, I actually like this rye a lot. Is this one of my favorite ryes of all time? No, but it's a hell of a good rye. It's so good. I remember actually bringing that out to, like, I think it was a studio session to one of the artists that I manage, and he actually liked that rye, and next thing I know, he had a party, I think like a month or two later, and he had 2 of those bottles there. And it went like that. I saw people mixing that with like Sprite, Coke, and everything. I was like, that's crazy, but do y'all, Now, so let's think about ryes that we can recommend people at different levels. Okay, let's break them down in 3 groups just for this experiment here. Let's do for the top tier, let's just say group number 3. Let's do that group considering these people are whiskey enthusiasts or avid whiskey lovers, people who have like a nice collection of bourbons and a nice collection of ryes already. What is the top rye you would recommend for that person to look out for, to hunt, or to add? Secondly, for the second group, let's add this to somebody who has started their bourbon journey and they already have a few bottles of bourbon and then maybe 1 or 2 ryes, nothing too crazy. So like maybe this person has like maybe like 10 or 20 bottles in a collection. What's a great rye that you would recommend? And then last but not least, that person that's basically drinks whatever they drink and they probably have 1 or 2 bottles at home and they just don't like rye. What would you recommend? Now, keep in mind to consider a lot of these people, they necessarily don't like a lot of high proof stuff. So keep that in mind, maybe for that particular number 1 group. And also 2, maybe it could be the rye. For a lot of times it's too little spice for it, so maybe we can consider some ryes that are like in finishing barrels or more than 1 finishing barrel, so we can use that as an option as well. And so I think, yeah, this would be a great part. I just really want to see the comments flooded with different options that we can give people, and eventually I would like to actually do an episode where the top picks from all the comments actually will go out and buy bottle from like group 3, group 2, and group 1, and then try them on, and definitely I will shout you all out in that episode. So I think that's fair. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just really wanted to get on here and have that on my mind. I didn't necessarily want to devote that whole topic to like on the desk, because I didn't want to necessarily drag it out, but I think it's something, I'm just really interested. Why not rye? Why not rye? I'll wait. Why not rye? I don't know. You tell me. But anyways, yeah. So if you like this one, go ahead and give me a good old like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. And like we always say at this time, folks, cheers, salute, Sante, Kobe, and all that jazz.